Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29, back for another DC comic review, and in this comic review I'll be reviewing Robin and Batman issue 1 of 3. I'm looking forward to reading and reviewing this series for the channel. So now it's time to jump into first things first, and that is moving into the cover and cover rating. I must admit, I really do enjoy the cover. Does it work with what's happening inside the story? It does somewhat work with what's happening inside of the story. And as you can see, I've got both the regular as well as the variant. And for the regular cover, surprise, surprise, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And for the variant, I actually gave it a 7 out of 10. Do they both sort of work with the story? Somewhat. So now it's time to move into the internal art, to which I'll use the variant cover to show it. Covering the beginning, middle, and of course the end. Now this is some of the art around the beginning, care of Dustin Nugent. And I must admit, I really enjoy Dustin Nugent's style. You'll definitely enjoy his Little Gotham series, to which he works around the character of Damian Wayne and the Bat family members, including Talia al Ghul, his mother. And here you can sort of see that he's used somewhat similar for Dick Grayson himself. I'll now move towards the middle. And this is some of the art, of course, around the middle. I'll show another page towards the end as well, and this is near the end, but it will move into spoiler territory. And here we go up towards the end. For the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10, as I felt it sort of quite worked with the story, with what Jeff Lemire and also Dustin Nugent were doing. And if it's one thing I want to recommend, to which they both have worked on, and something I have recently read through, trade-wise, it is Descender. And I'll be working on getting a hold of Accender. Moving on to the story, of course you know that there are certain things that I enjoy story-wise, or in my storytelling, and could some of these things have worked in the story? One of them, but seeing that this is the first issue, it requires no comic reference, though if they did choose to include it, I would include it, I would count it as a bonus to the story. So, moving into the first things first, did we get anything in regards to time? And not really, as we didn't get to see what time that Dick Grayson was actually fighting up against those villains in the beginning of the story. Like what time was it, in the evening or the afternoon with Batman. But did that ruin the story? Not really. The locations, once again, they weren't very clear, but you were able to make it out where they were. The locations being the Batcave, the school in Gotham. Of course, there was the sewers, and last but not least, a circus. The cast of characters consisting of Robin, Dick Grayson, and we do get to see him before he bears the Robin garb, and I thought that was really interesting. We, of course, had Batman, Alfred, and last but not least, the appearance of Killer Croc. This is quite an interesting story. To lay out in summary. We start off with meeting Dick Grayson pretty much on one of his early missions with Batman. And at the time, he's not quite in the costume that we see him now. And we get a lot of thought bubbles in regards to Dick Grayson's relationship with Batman. And one of the things that also irked him as well, being the ward of Bruce Wayne, was how his privacy had been violated. And that's totally understandable for the character and the character's age in this. We don't get the full age of Dick Grayson in this, but we've got a rough idea that he is actually attending elementary to high school, just by the school uniform. And it's really nice to see him even ponder the idea of, say, Nighthawk, Nightwing, and that is definitely a foreshadowing of how things go or will affect him future-wise. So, with him going out of his way after the mission with Batman, then finally going to the school the next day, has a bit of a talk with Alfred, and Alfred, is the best man of the house, especially in the House of Wayne. I think he can be very more understanding than what Batman is, but he can also help relay to Batman some of the feelings to which his wards are certainly feeling, and trying to get Batman to understand that, okay, sometimes you need to remember when you were this age. What did you do under me? All that type of stuff. And it was really nice to see that conversation with Alfred, even though Alfred is presently missing in a lot of the present stuff in the present DC comics, all except his appearances seen in the Robin run, with Damian Wayne as the Robin. So for this story, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And one interesting thing I'd like to point out too is you learn in this that even Croc has a connection to Robin, especially through the costume, which was also worn by the Graysons. And that was a very interesting thing to actually see in this issue. And you can see why Robin became sort of like the beacon of light for Batman to, okay, maybe there are some things he's wrong about, but at least he's got someone there to not only be that voice of conscience for him, but also help him to make balanced decisions, which no doubt we'll probably see later on in further issues. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.